We will now call our meeting to order. This is our March 8, 2022 school board meeting, regular school board meeting. Good evening, everyone, and it's a pleasure to see everyone here today, and as well as our media audience. Thank you for attending this board meeting. At this time, we will all stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Directly after, we will have the Kids at Hope Pledge. Kids at Hope Hunters Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now recite our Hunters Pledge. As an adult and treasure hunter, I'm committed to search for all the talent, skills, and intelligence that exist in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exceptions. You may be seated. Okay, we're going to go into our public hearing this evening. 2.1, proposed adoption of amendments to School Board Policy 3.44 and the new safety policies. We will open up our public hearing at this time to receive any comments that may be before us in the audience of the proposed adoption of amendments to the school board policy. Use of physical restraint in regular and special education, and 5 new policies entitled Charter School Campus Safety Requirements, School Safety Specialists, Security Camera System, School Campus Safety, and Involuntary Student Examinations. Anyone here would like to speak on this public hearing item? Okay, seeing none, Superintendent Gent, please make your recommendation.
I recommend the board adopt the proposed amendments to School Board Policy number 3.44 and the 5 new safety policies as submitted.
Board members, can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Ingersoll. Second by Debbie Harley. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. We have another public hearing here. We need to hear any comments that may be out there. We will now conduct the public hearing to receive comments on the proposed approval of amendments to School Board Policy 2.21, Organization and Officers of the Board. Superintendent, will you is there any comments first on this item? No, seeing none, Superintendent, please make your recommendations.
Recommend the board adopt the proposed amendments to School Board Policy number 2.21 as submitted.
Board members, I need a motion in a second. So moved by Ms. Holly, second by Mr. Ingersoll. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Special order of business, Mr. Wayne Gent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll call up Ms. Martin to let us know what's going on.
Good evening, Madam Chair, school board members, Superintendent Gent. At this time, I'd like to actually invite Dr. Kevin Perry to the podium, who will share information about Arts in Our Schools Month.
Madam Chair, school board members, Superintendent Gent, St. Lucie Public Schools has a rich and storied history of supporting the arts. The month of March is celebrated as National Arts in Our Schools Month. It includes music in our schools, art in our schools, dance in our schools, and theater in our schools, and its intent is to recognize the importance of arts education to the curriculum in our schools and to providing access to a quality education for all students. It ensures that America's students have access to comprehensive sequential music education taught by highly qualified music educators. Arts Education Month is a perfect celebration of the creative endeavors taking place in our schools and shows how the arts are making a difference in education. At this time, I'd like to introduce to you bandmaster and 40-year educator with 26 years here in St. Lucie Public Schools, who has meant so much to music education in our district. He will present his final concert on April 28th and on 6/2/22 move to his endless summer. Please welcome Southport's band director, Jim LeBon.
Dr. Mills, Mr. Gent, our school board, it's a pleasure to be here. Proclamation for Arts Education Month. Whereas March is recognized as National Arts in Our Schools Month and encompasses Music in Our Schools Month, Youth Art Month, Dance in Our Schools Month, and Theater in Our Schools Month. And whereas the arts are an important part of a well-rounded education for all students. Arts-rich schools, those with high-quality arts programs and comprehensive course offerings, benefit students in and outside of the art or dance studio, music room, or stage. And whereas National Arts in Our Schools Month recognizes the fact that all children deserve arts-rich schools and is supported by the National Association for Music, Art, Dance, and Theater in cooperation with the U.S. Department of Education. And whereas research increasingly shows that arts education heightens engagement for all students, and learning in the arts uniquely equips students with the skills in creativity, divergent thinking, problem solving, and teamwork that they need to be college and career ready. And whereas like all academic areas, students of the arts are successful because of teachers who are highly skilled, knowledgeable of development in their fields, and motivated. And whereas March was packed with great reasons to focus on arts education in our schools, and all citizens are urged to advocate, celebrate, and participate to show their support for all music, art, dance, and theater programs.
Mr. Superintendent, we request that you recommend adoption of this proclamation.
I recommend the board adopt the Arts Education Month proclamation as submitted.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Kelly and second by Ms. Harley. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, school board members, Mr. Gent, as we continue our Arts in Our Schools Month celebration, this past weekend, our 6 high school bands attended MPAs. Those 6 high schools took 10 bands to their MPA performances. 5 earned an excellent rating and 5 made superior ratings, the highest 2 ratings an ensemble can achieve. Yesterday and today, our choirs are at their MPAs, and we expect for them to fare just as well. As a matter of fact, we know already that 2 choirs from Fort Pierce Central, 2 from Port St. Lucie High School made excellent ratings, and 2 from Westwood High School made superior ratings. So you see, Arts in Our Schools Month is a perfect time to participate, advocate, and celebrate arts education in our schools. I have been blessed for over 30 years to work in the school district where the school board, superintendent, and our community celebrates the value of the arts. But ask yourself, what if? What if there were no music, dance, art, or theater classes? we're pleased to never have to answer what if there were no, because we live and work in an arts-rich school district. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Perry. And thank you, Mr. Jim Laban, our band director at Southport Middle School.
At this time, I'd like to move forward with our Star Awards for the month of March. This first trio was nominated by Molly Dunn, Recruitment and Retention Specialist in the Human Resources Department, Yermaya Baez-Bauza, Davia DeGiuste, and Christine Parator, who are application clerks in the Human Resources Department. Were nominated because HR recently held a hiring event for transportation, food service, and maintenance workers. These three individuals stepped up and onboarded close to 100 new hires in a week. The HR department is so proud of their tenacity and work ethic, and these are the individuals that make everything happen. They are the backbone of the HR department, and they work daily to ensure that all employees, contractors, volunteers, and student interns experience a smooth onboarding process. Not only do they manage this workload with ease, but they also provide customers the best service. So thank you to all three of these wonderful individuals. You are truly rock stars. So congratulations to those three. Next, we have Zodalinda Lodge, who is a bus driver, and she was nominated by one of our students. This student wrote an essay about Miss Zoe, as she is known, and this student explained that she has learned many lifelong lessons from her bus driver. One of those is about being nice to everybody, even if you don't want to be nice or if they are not nice to you. As an example, she had a teammate who was being rude to her, and instead of taking revenge and getting mad, she gave this other student a compliment. Thanks to this advice, she and this individual are now friends. Miss Zoe is so nice to everybody on and off of the bus, and for the rest of her life, she will never forget the stories that she shared with her. She is amazing. The kids that ride bus 2817 are lucky and have been truly touched by this amazing school board employee who unconditionally cares for all of her students. This student states that she thinks there should be more Miss Zoes in the world and the world would be a better place. So congratulations to Miss Zoe. And that concludes our Star Awards.
Lydia, before you sit down, if we could have Jim and Kevin come up and stand right here in front of the dais, we need to take a picture for the Arts Proclamation. And I'm sure that Jim will want to keep this as one of his tokens of the many years of service in our school district.
Thank you both, gentlemen. Thank you, Jim.
And Madam Chair, if you may allow me, I just was informed that Miss Zoe is here, so we'd like to bring her forward as well. This is the bus driver that I just shared that wonderful information with, so we'll have her come forward as well.
Zoe,
By
stand
yourself.
by herself. Closer, Miss Zoe. Come this way. Well, you know what? We'll all go down.
Yeah, there we go. We got time. You guys want this time?
Okay, moving right along, we're going to go into our ESOL report. Mr. David Freeman.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Superintendent Gent. I have a straight report this evening. I'm sure after this session is over at the next board meeting, I'll have quite a bit more to say about events in Tallahassee and how that impacts both the district and the union. But for tonight, I'm just going to report on some good things. As you may know, we just completed a ratification. I'd like to mention just a couple things about that because I think it reflects the work that we have done together to get certain things to pass and to come to certain agreements that are good for both the district and the union. So for instance, for CTA, there were 21 separate LOUs or letters of understanding agreements that we made. And we just actually signed 2 even after that was done regarding COVID provisions. We were able to settle our salaries with our CTA, which are Classroom Teachers Associations or instructional staff. I'm very proud of this, we were able to take care of our veteran teachers, where a lot of our sister unions had a lot of problems with that, with the legislation that passed and the different rules that they imposed. But both negotiating teams came together and we were able to solve that, which was not an easy nut to crack. For all 3 of our bargaining units, we settled health insurance, which was ratified, and we're very proud of the fact that, again, unlike most of our colleagues across the state, we're able to get a no plan increase or no premium increase this year, along with no changes to the plans, which is unheard of. We've got some districts, some of our sister organizations that managed to get no increase, but they had to cut benefits that were going out. So that's something that we, again, are proud of, that both teams came together to be able to solve that. We increased supplements, and I'm proud to say we actually have some new supplements, several of which, in fact, I'd say the lion's share of what we agreed to went to women's athletic programs and new sports along that lines. For CTA, we were able to get one-time payments to match what the governor gave to classroom teachers for our non-classroom teachers, all instructional staff. I'm going to talk about this in a second. That wasn't unheard of, but we managed to get that for all of our other members and all of our other bargaining units. So I'll chat about that in a second. You know, I'm not going to go through all 21. Those are some highlights. I'm happy to share this. But 21's a lot of LOUs, and we managed to get through them and do some good work, which I think benefits both the district and our members. CU, we had 14 LOUs that we signed for our classified unit. Those are our professional support staff. Again, something that I'm proud of, we got a raise for our support staff, something else, again, that many of our colleagues in other districts were unable to do. So both teams came together and we found a way to make that work. Same with health insurance. I'm over that again because the health insurance is the same for all 3 of our bargaining units, but again, no increases. We did get for our classified unit, for those support professionals, we managed to negotiate a matching bonus for them as well, which many of our colleagues in other districts were unable to do. So that's just a highlight from our CU ratification. Our new bargaining unit, ProTech, we have 13 LOUs for that particular group. That's our professional and our technical staff. Again, salaries, we got raises for that group, where other districts focused on just teachers, and some just classroom teachers. Health insurance, and we managed to get the matching bonus for that group as well. So again, I'm not going to go through all 13, but I'm happy to share with you. One thing that I'm really proud of, I'm proud of the fact that we actually completed all 3 full books. So all 3 contracts, one for CTA, one for CU, and this is the one I'm most proud of. This is the ProTech contract. This is the very first contract that this group has ever had. And we managed to complete this, and so we have a contract for our ProTech unit now. So we managed to complete all 3 contracts, and especially a brand new one from scratch, which I've never done, and it's more work than it seems like to be able to, especially in this group, to sort out all the nuts and bolts and odds and ends and make sure that we do this for one group, we can do it for another. And I just want to mention, and just so you know, the CU and CTA passed with 97% approval and the ProTech with 100% approval. So our members appreciate that work as well, and I think that's important. And again, I say this all the time, we butt heads. In some ways, I feel like we're not doing our jobs if we don't butt heads sometimes on both sides, but we also manage to come together collaboratively and solve really a multitude of issues, and we often do it in ways I don't want to say better, I don't mean that, but in unique ways that our colleagues across the state sometimes can't do. So again, we can be trendsetters here in St. Lucie County. It's something we've always done and something that I'm very proud that we continue to do. So again, a lot of work from both teams, and we got it done. And so that's my report for this evening. Like I said, next meeting, I may have quite a bit more to say after they get done up there in Tallahassee, but for tonight, that's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman, and it's good to have a good report from our ESO. Is Ms. Martha Vickers here? It's time for our CWA report. Okay, seeing no one here for that report, we're going to move right on to our St. Lucie County Youth Advisory Council. Mr. Becker. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, school board members, and Superintendent Gent. This past month, our council had our regular February meeting at Lincoln Park Academy, where we were joined by Chief Academic Officer Dr. Wiles, Coordinator of Secondary School Guidance and Advisement, Ms. Poole, and our SEL Specialist, Ms. Coppola, to discuss how we can continue to expand the equitable access to resources for our students and discuss the transparency within our guidance departments. We focused on student outreach initiatives, primarily concerning our CTE programs. While many of our students understand there are a plethora of educational resources available for them, they don't know how to access them or that they're even available. So additionally, after an arduous nominating process, our council has nominated Dominique Thomas, a current junior at Treasure Coast High School, as the presumptive vice chairman of the St. Lucie Public Schools Youth Advisory Council. She will serve as the vice chairman for the remainder of the academic year, and we are excited to see the unique perspective that she will bring to the council. We look forward to having her in attendance during future school board meetings. Our upcoming meeting will be held on March 22nd from 3 to 4:30 at St. Lucie West Centennial High School and will be hosted by its administration. Lastly, I typically enjoy keeping my personal life hidden from the public eye. However, in light of the divisive legislation passed by Florida legislature, I want to recognize a community that is so often unjustly judged. As a first-generation American, I often struggle with my identity and beliefs, especially those which deviate from social norms. Who I am has not always been welcomed, and it has forced me to endure interpersonal curiosities alone. I often find myself concealing significant parts of my identity as I believe conformity reduces the possibility of being discriminated against. However, it is with the realization of the impact of conformity that I realize being unable to live authentically is the most spiteful form of discrimination. I know all too well the emotional toll many youth face in search of their identity and the sense of loneliness many youth experience throughout this process. And it is not one I wish any student must endure, especially alone. My only desire is that our youth continue to feel comfortable living in their most authentic self, as I have and as so many others have before me. You deserve to live your truth, and I'm internally committed to ensuring that happens. Let it be clear, Senate Bill 1834 and the concordant House Bill 1557 is not an attempt of expanding parental autonomy, but an attempt to further marginalize the LGBTQ+ community. Our education system should be defined by a synergy of introspective thought and modernistic innovation. Yet this bill seeks to limit our learning environment's ability to proceed with that synergy. I want to express the Youth Advisory Council's commitment to protecting our youth against discrimination based on their sexual orientation, gender identity, or any other diversifying factor. I want to urge our school district to remain persistent in our educational principle of fostering an inclusive learning environment for each and every student, and to remain a beacon of hope for our youth, knowing that they're continuously protected and supported every day. As always, I would like to thank the school board for the opportunity in allowing me to speak on behalf of the students of the St. Lucie Public Schools, and we look forward to continuing our efforts in advancing the interests of our student body. On behalf of the St. Lucie Public Schools Youth Advisory Council, I want to wish you all a wonderful spring break and an energized return to conclude the school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Becker. Okay, so now we're going to move to our consent agenda. May I have a motion and a second to adopt the consent agenda as presented? So moved by Mr. Ingersoll.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Superintendent, may we have your recommendation?
I recommend the board approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Superintendent has recommended that we approve the consent agenda items as submitted. So moved by Mr. Ingersoll,
Second.
second by Mr. Kelly. Are there any items up for discussion from any of the board members? Seeing none, I will entertain a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay, I have before you, board members, the informational reports for the knowledge of our audience here. Charter schools financial reports is something that is presented to the board for informational purposes only. No approval of a charter school's financial statement is required at all here. This presentation or acceptance of the charter school financial statements is to demonstrate compliance with Section 1002.33 Florida statutes. Specifically, subsection 5B requires the district as the sponsor to monitor the revenues and expenditures of the charter school and perform duties provided. So you have before you at your own convenience and at your own time, you will be able to look those reports over. Okay, superintendent and staff reports.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of folks I'd like to introduce to the board tonight. Number one, I'd like to have Jerry Early come on up to the podium. Mr. Early will be the new principal at Del Caston School, and he is already over there working with Ms. Harden. Ms. Harden is here in the back as well. And Jerry was previously AP over at Port St. Lucie High School. And Mr. Early, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Gent, friends, district friends, and guests, thank you. Gratitude is the quality of being thankful or readiness to show appreciation. I'd like to take a moment to publicly acknowledge several people to whom I'm thankful and instrumental in my transition from AP to principal in St. Lucie County Public Schools. First, I would like to thank Bridget Hargadine. She found my application and called me, even though at the time I lived in Alaska. We talked back and forth for a full year before she brought me home and gave me an opportunity in St. Lucie County Public Schools. I'd also like to thank my students. High school students are unique, and I look forward to spending time with them every day. Now I have the opportunity to spend time with K-12 students, so I have something new to look forward to. At Port St. Lucie High School, I had the opportunity to work closely with the AP team where I am learning the PSL ropes. I'd like to thank Amy Rodriguez, Alex Auger, Tim Norfleet, Dr. Belgraves, Brad Lehman, Louisa Sage, and Matt Lee. Thank you for your friendship and commitment to excellence. During that time, I also had the experience to be influenced by several cultural keepers of our district. I am grateful to have had the opportunity to work with on a few special projects, Terrence O'Leary, Patty Galloway, Brian Ruther, and Carrie Padrick, among others. I'm also grateful to Mr. Frank and his coaching and guidance. He said, "I'm old, but I'm still coachable." Denise Rodriguez, I'd like to say thanks for all things St. Lucie County. She's just a wonderful human. Thank you, Dr. Wiles, for challenging me to take a real look at the Dale. I've had the opportunity to learn from 3 principals during my time at Port St. Lucie. Thank you, Ms. Hargadine, for bringing me, Mr. Ocampo and Mrs. Wigginton. Thank you for your nuggets of wisdom, and I appreciate you all. Finally, I would like to thank Mr. Gent, Dr. Prince, and the interview committee for selecting me and placing the trust in me to lead Del Cassens into the future. Thank you, school board, for approving my recommendation by the superintendent. Ellen Harden and Dr. Booker and the staff at Del Cassens have already been very welcoming. I look forward to building relationships with those folks. Most importantly, I would like to thank Donna Jean, my wife, another passionate educator, retired now, but she understands that there is no real start time and no stop time to our job, and she never complains about it. Thank you.
I'd now like to bring up Mr. Derek McSweeney. Derek will be the Director of Building Services, Maintenance, and Projects. He's replacing John Gillette.
Thank you, Madam Chair, school board members, Superintendent Gent. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Transitioned from Austin, Texas, where I was overseeing about $800 million worth of school bond programs, and coming back home to Port St. Lucie to help serve and build some world-class facilities for our scholars here. My mother bought her house here in 1988, moved down from New York. Unfortunately, she passed away 3 months ago, but she'd be very, very happy that her son is back here at home. We lost her at 98 years old, and it was a healthy, long life. I'd like to thank Dr. Prince, Terrence O'Leary for their confidence, and I'm looking forward to serving and doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Also have two candidates. They don't have to come up and speak. I'm going to have them stand up. These will be our new APs. Adrian Mendoza will be the assistant principal at St. Lucia Elementary School. There's Adrian. And Jesus Raul Riviera will be the assistant principal at Port St. Lucie High School. If y'all brought any family members or school members, let's y'all stand up too. Family and school team, well, we want to recognize y'all as well for coming out tonight. Thank you. And then finally, Mark Woods will be retiring in June, and Mark's replacement, we have Troy Church. Troy, please stand up. Troy will be replacing Mark. You've seen him at our board meetings before. I don't think he's had the jacket and tie on at the board meetings on the back wall, but he's dressed for success tonight, so thank you, Troy. Also, just we had, it should go up on the wall now. We had some state qualifiers for our science and engineering fair. I won't read their names out, but you can see that. The audience can, and the board members, you can see it in front of you. These were all qualifiers for the state engineering fair. And so we want to congratulate them, their schools, their principals, their family members. And then next, our international qualifiers. You have Robert Sansone and Madison Atkins from Central High and Lincoln Park, and they'll be going forward with the Science Engineering Fair for the international. And then Dr. Perry, Kevin talked about earlier, music in our schools, and so we just wanted to give you the results of that, the MPAs, which were just done. And you can see there the superior ratings for Westwood and Central Symphonic Band and PSL High and Centennial and Treasure Coast, and then the excellent rating at LPA, PSL, Centennial, Treasure Coast, and Fort Pierce Central. I want to appreciate those students and their directors, which is a lot of work. It's just like an athletic coach. They spend hours and hours and hours working with these students and preparing them. So congratulations to them. And then the next slide will be our state. We had some wrestling state champions, Gabby Perez from Treasure Coast High School and Gabriel Jacques from Fort Pierce Central High School. I know he was in the 185 weight class, and Gabby also won, and they are state champions. So I want to congratulate them as well. I want to say special thanks to Dr. Mills and the board members for coming to the EDC luncheon, and Dr. Mills for your very warm introduction of John and I. And John did an outstanding job presentation. So I appreciate that. And I was reading in our schools, and I want to just thank Barbara Bennett, Mrs. Bennett, who teaches 5th grade. Every year I go and read to her students over at FK Suite, and we did that again. And just enjoy going in and working with the students. And then Ms. DeMeo, I'll be in your classroom tomorrow morning at 7:30. Looking forward to chatting with the students and answering the tough questions and having some good debate with the kids tomorrow morning. So thanks for the invitation, and I look forward to being there. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Gent. As you can see, we have lots going on in our schools, and very appreciative that we're able to come back together and do some great things. COVID numbers have gone down drastically, and so we're able to return back to a lot of the activities that we had before COVID. So at this time, we're going to ask out for our attorney's report.
Thank you, Chairwoman, members of the board, and Superintendent. There's no attorney's report tonight.
Thank you so much. School board members report. We'll start with Mr. Kelly.
Just want to say we did visit Port St. Lucie City Council last week for their, I guess their, what do you call it? Their, yeah, that's right. And Mr. Gent gave an excellent report, and staff was there. Proud of them. We did a great job. I think they were very impressed, especially with the report also from Indian River State College there with, I think they got a lot of good news about the welfare of our education system in St. Lucie County. Also, I just want to wish everybody a great week next week, a great week off. And my advice, pet your dog, pet your cat, hug each other, and don't watch TV. Don't watch any global news. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Ms. Holly, please.
There is indeed a lot going on in our district, but one point of pride I really want to bring forth tonight, and a lot of you with bleary eyes have been at the fair for the last 10, 12 days. This is the first year that our FFA group, specifically Fort Pierce Westwood, those students rocked it. FFA is alive and well in St. Lucie Public Schools. Their coordinator, Ms. Jenna, is phenomenal. The whole agricultural community is talking about how FFA finally took out the 4-H club. So the kids are so excited at all levels, whether it's swine or beef, even the small animal exhibits. The kids just had a great, great time. What a time of fellowship that they had together. It's not the most glamorous of lives, but boy, they were excited and they have come so far. So any opportunity you have to congratulate them and Miss Jenna, please take advantage of that because it is a well-deserved honor. And I have no other report other than to wish everyone a very blessed and restful spring break next week. And I hope you do find something that is challenging for yourself, but therapeutic for yourself. Have a good one.
Thank you, Ms. Hawley. Mr. Ingersoll.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to echo Ms. Holly's appreciation towards Ms. Jenna Lincolnship. You know, she not only has 4-H, but she also runs the FFA booth. And if you've ever been there, it is the best place to eat at the fair. And I know fair food. I'm all about it. And every year, Ms. Holly and I get the opportunity to work with the students and work at the fair at the booth. And it's not work, it's fun. And if you have an opportunity to volunteer, that's the place to volunteer because you get to hear what the kids are doing. And all of them, there's just a momentum for FFA. And all of them are like, oh, I'm going to join next year. I'm going to join. It's just like, my dad always taught me momentum builds momentum. And that's how you get winning teams and dynasties. So that was good. And the other thing is I have a meeting tomorrow at 11 that I can't make, Dr. Mills. And Miss Holly said she'd fill in for me. I just wanted to let you know it's a value board adjustment, and it has to be a school board member that attends. I just want to make sure it's on record.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hawley, for being able to be in this place for tomorrow for Mr. Troy Ingersoll. I have not much to say tonight, but I do want to ask everyone to keep Ms. Jennifer Richardson, our 5th board member, in your prayers and in your thoughts. She has had tragedy in her family, and we're saddened by that tragedy. Without going into any other detail, just keep her in your thoughts and your prayers, please. Okay, at this time, we're going to move to item 20.2, which is the approval of our superintendent of schools contract with Dr. Jonathan R. Prince. It will become effective as of July 1st, and we need to have an approval, a vote toward this. I need a second and a motion to approve the draft employment agreement with Dr. Prince as superintendent of schools in the form that's attached.
Motion to approve.
Okay, so first and second, motion from Mr. Kelly, second from Mr. Ingersoll. Any discussion, board? Seeing none, we will go and entertain a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations, Dr. Prince.
Madam Chair, if I may, his family is here as well.
Yes, I was going to
You're
mention
going to do that? You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
So would you please stand, Dr. Prince's lovely wife, Heather, and his 2 children. Please stand, and anybody else that might have come to support him. Please stand so we can give you a round. Stand. You must be very proud of your father and husband, and congratulations again to the Prince family. Okay, at this time, we're going to have scheduled speakers this evening. We're going to ask Ms. Dale Galiano to please come to the podium. You're first, Ms. Gail. Please, you have your 5 minutes, and please give us your location as well.
Definitely. Dale Galiano, Port St. Lucie. Good evening. I never would have thought that I would still be standing before you trying to get illegal books out of our schools and away from our children, or trying to make you understand that something illegal cannot be manipulated to negotiated action. I also, however, do believe all of you want the same conclusion as I do. I was told recently by a very wise lady that you're the police for the state, to make sure that all is done in the right way for the safety and betterment of our children and their futures. I stand and recite the treasure hunter's pledge before every meeting, and I want to believe that you truly mean it. Or are you lying? Or are you just hoping that I'll stop because you believe I can't or won't get anything done here? It looks that way. That's why I find it disheartening that I have been here since September, December 14th, to the present day. I have put in 20 books, illegal books, to be removed. That's 60 days minus all the 12 holiday days, and that leaves about 48 days, and all has been pulled is 5 illegal books, with one of the worst, Toni Morrison's Bluest Eyes, to my knowledge, is yet to be officially removed. County policy dictates that books have to be read in entirety, even when the page and content of the offending language or action are usually supplied. For example, the book titled 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher, turned in on December 14th, there were 23 books in 3 high schools and 3 K-8 schools. I cited 18 pages with explicit illegal pornography, sexual actions, inappropriate language and behavior, all about a girl taping her life before committing suicide. 352 pages that are nationally rated for ages 16 plus, not fit for reading without parental consent. Basically, this shouldn't be in our school media centers. Reason given for delay reading the entire book is to make sure that it doesn't have any educational value. Seriously? If that can be determined by the powers to be in this building, it can remain in the schools even though it is illegal by the state law or statute. Now, with that type of logic applied to the media center school books, what about fentanyl? Right now, it seems to be the rage, cheap commodity. Are we going to have an educational book about how to buy, use, and dispense the drug? After all, with the existing policy logic, it would be teaching consumerism and DIY. In fact, that it's killing people illegally and illegal is irrelevant within our policy. But as luck would have it, I was in Tallahassee this past weekend. Had a great pleasure of meeting many of our legislators, asking questions, and watching the House and Senate in action as they finish up the session. Always fun to meet with people behind all the education, legal, and appropriation committees. I was fortunate to get some answers on these areas, and I've been wondering about from all our lawmakers themselves, I asked. And to my surprise, Florida state law and statutes trump county policy when it comes to pornographic, CRT, and all that can harm our children in any way. That is, if that is where it's out of our schools and put securely out of the students' access until parental permission is given. This is part of the Constitution. So as the police of the state, I'm asking and requesting that you investigate what seems to be an underground progressive leniency, indoctrination, manipulation that seems to be going on here. I've been here since September, 5 books. They're not, and some of the worst aren't even off yet. Otherwise, why would there not be action on removal of these books? What's the holdup? You're the police. Thank you, and I'll be waiting for responses. 2 Corinthians, as also 5:10, for all of us must appear before Christ and be judged by him. We will each receive what we deserve according to everything we have done,
30
good or
seconds.
bad, in our body of life. How are we going to be answering? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to have Susan, Miss Susan Sadino, please come to the podium. And welcome, Miss Susan.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Gent, Dr. Mills, and members of the school board. My name is Susan Sadino. I'm a resident of Port St. Lucie. I just want to start out by saying I'm not racist. I do not judge anyone by the color of their skin, their religious beliefs, or their sexual orientation. I never in my 68 years on this earth thought I would ever be up here speaking to you, let alone being recorded. I have never been controversial, and I don't like debates, and I have no idea how I became this person that's speaking to you now. I do believe in one God, the sanctity of life, but all lives, not just the unborn. I believe in family, whether it's traditional or non-traditional. Most of all, I'm a mom and a grandmother. Like all mothers, they go to great lengths to protect their young. I watch what's going on in the country, and it makes me so sad. Gas prices will soon be over $5 a gallon. Innocent people are being killed, lawlessness everywhere, inflation over the roof, and I have no idea when it will ever get better. I pray to God that it has to. I also was at a conference this weekend, and I heard the governor speak about our schools and how he was going to protect our children in our schools. I heard the founder for Moms for Liberty speak about what our children were being taught in schools. I wanted to cry when I heard the story of a Florida 12-year-old who tried to commit suicide twice over secret meetings with her teachers about her sexual orientation. Her parents were never notified. I heard about the kindergarten teacher in Florida who was telling her class that children are born neutral and they can choose whatever gender they want to be. My 5-year-old granddaughter cannot even decide what her favorite color is, and you want her to choose what her gender is supposed to be? There was a bill in the Senate. It actually was approved today. It was passed on party lines. And it's called the Parental Rights in Education. I'm sure you've all heard of it. It's dubbed the Don't Say Gay bill. The word gay is not in this bill anywhere. It is being protested strongly by the LGBTQ community. This bill does not allow teachers to instruct children on gender identity and sexual orientation in certain grades levels, which is kindergarten through 3. That's 4-year-olds to 8-year-olds. It also provides that parents be notified regarding critical decisions affecting their children in school. Personally, I love this bill. I don't want teachers to discuss issues that should be left to the parents. I certainly do not want to be left out if my child is suffering about anything, sexual or otherwise. Children do not belong to the schools or the government. They belong to their parents who love and care for them. I watched for over 4 hours yesterday the debate of this bill on the floor. Obviously, one side was for it and the other totally against it. Politics should not be involved in our children's education. It was eye-opening and it made me sick to my stomach. My speech tonight was going to be about the progress of removing the pornographic books from the media centers in our schools. But when I woke up this morning, I scratched that entire speech because I realized that that is just touching on the surface about what is wrong in our school systems. It is not about the books. It's about the indoctrination of our children. If we cannot control what our children are being taught in schools, if we are not willing to fight to preserve the sanctity of human life for the born and the unborn because we don't want to offend a certain population, then we have bigger battles to fight than the pornographic books. God, please help this world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sadino. Ms. Eddie Evans?
My name's Eddie Evans, and I'm from Port St. Lucie. Lived here 25 years and seen a lot of life and all things happening. This is a redo from last time when I read it, but I still think it's very, very meaningful because we haven't made much progress. And I'm just going to redo what I did. A lot of questions come to mind when I go through books that are available in our media centers and part of the curriculum in all of our schools. Questions like, who makes the final decisions on the books? Who is this person or persons that are responsible? Who processes the books when they arrive? Is it true that publishers always send in freebies? Are they agenda-driven? Or who checks these books? Is there a set point guideline for the placement of the books? Is it by grade, age, or personal agenda? We all know there are state laws against the pornography and CRT in schools. How did all these books that have been pulled get on the shelves in our schools in the first place? Who gave the okay for that to happen? Now, some of these books are older and have been around for years on the banned book list. Who checks the banned books list? Is there someone in charge in processing and back checking the banned books list and what is against the Florida state law? It seems to me if the books are coming into our media centers, were screened more carefully, it would save time and energy for everyone. I believe the policies are going to be revised and hopefully help the situation for all concerned. But I have to also say, the sooner the better. And this is essential, so I think that we just really need to find out what, and maybe we need to, find out that middle group that are doing all of this. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eddie Evans. Could we get Dr. Wiles to come up to the podium and just give us a quick overview of where we're at and the process here with the books? Thank you, Dr. Wiles.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board Members, Superintendent Gent. Sure, I'm happy to do that. Yes, we are in the process. This process started when Mrs. Galiano submitted a list for public records request of 45 books, of which we had 22 in at least one copy within the district. And we are following our policy. However, we did, as a courtesy, not require her to take the steps to go to each school and begin the process with committees at each school site. Therefore, we've done it all at the district level. We have had several rounds of review committees involving 33 people at this point. We have 4 more books to finish after spring break, at which point Mr. Gent will then let Mrs. Galiano know, based on the recommendation of those committees, what his decisions are,
and then she'll know the outcome for those books that she has done the formal request for at this point.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wiles.
You're very welcome.
Oh,
Excuse
no.
me.
If you don't mind.
Thank you. That's what I was waiting on. Go ahead, Mr. Ingersoll.
So how many books, when Ms. Galiano gives you a list, we pull them off the shelf and they stay at the district office until they're reviewed?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Every single book on that list that we have is quarantined, and they are all here at the district office, and they have been since the very beginning of this process.
That is a great picture.
Thank you.
All right, any other board members, since Mr. Ingersoll opened it up kind of for any comments? Okay, all right. We have two unscheduled speakers before us here. We have Lisa Henrich and we have James Taylor. Could we please have Ms. Henrich come up first?